Hello, people. How are you out there today? It's a Sunday, August the 7th. I decided to come on and talk about last night and also the things that have happened this week in boxing. Um, Virgil Ortiz won a WBA eliminator last night. So that put him in line for Earl Spence. He also won a WBO international title as well, put him in line with Bud Crawford as well. So we're going to discuss a little bit of that. I sent out some links, not doing an interview with anyone, but we're going to have a couple people on, and we're gonna go live here with a few other guests, and we're going to discuss what happened last night and also what's going forward. What's going on, D High? Inviting him to come on in so we can start talking right away. But yeah, interesting night. We're also going to talk about Mo Hooker. Mo Hooker fight with Blair the Flair. We got to talk about Blair the Flair. Big win for Blair coming off the Rocha loss. So good win. It's going to put him, I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but that's going to put Blair in line to be ranked in the top 10, top 5, well, probably top 10 in some sanctioning bodies. And hey, man, Blair may get his opportunity somewhere. That Roca loss. Only thing I worry about at this stage is outside of Virgil Ortiz, it looked like they're going to have to fight because it doesn't look like those guys have been stepping in or stepping up and fighting guys from other promoters, which is what's going to have to happen in order for them to get a big opportunity. So we're going to definitely get that fight at some point, quite possibly Blair against Virgil Ortiz. I know I've seen online people want to see Virgil Ortiz fight Boots Ennis. I want to see that too. But does Virgil want to see that? Does Oscar De La Hoya want to see that? Maybe we get Virgil versus Blair the Flair. Not a fight a lot of people looking into, look forward to seeing, but it's probably going to be on the horizon based upon Golden Boy recent track record and the fighters that they got available. Because I've seen that they're trying to make Jojo Diaz and William Zepeda. So it kind of show a pattern of them keeping everything in-house, even though Jojo Diaz done lost almost 2 or 3 fights in a row. It's a blueprint that they're doing. So we're going to probably see that Blair Flair fight, Blair the Flair Cobbs fight with Virgil Ortiz at some point. So look forward to seeing that. Come on in, D-Hub. I'm waiting on you. Sex crime case. Yeah, we can discuss that too, man. We definitely can get in and discuss the sex crime case. We can discuss all the everything that's going on in the world of boxing, and cases that people got going on that nobody want to talk about, including the Oscar De La Hoya situation. Making some coffee. Yeah, okay, fine. Make me an extra cup of coffee. Plenty of cream and sugar. Yeah, so we're going to talk about that Oscar De La Hoya situation that's been going on. A lot of different things going on as far as with that particular case. Also, we want to talk about Virgil Ortiz and the lead up to the fight and he said, "You got it, balls, no problem." Also, the Virgil Ortiz being real sensitive in the lead up to the fight. And I guess, I mean, I can understand, especially if it's a lie, that people would get upset when people continuously repeat a lie and you get, agitated and irritated. But we're going to talk about that because sometimes we're going to talk about what if your people started the story? What if your people put that story out? Can you get mad at the masses, or do you get upset at your people for putting it out? So we're going to discuss that a little bit, that particular scandal. Also, a lot of people want me to discuss, and they've been asking me my thoughts on Bud Crawford and the contract and everything. So we may do a little bit of that. Also, we're going to definitely touch a little bit on Bomac. People are now starting to see something I said a while ago about Bomac's career record outside of Terrence Crawford. People looking at like, wow, Bomac not leading nobody nowhere. Kind of go back to something that I told y'all in the past. Bomac is a product of the great Terrence Crawford, man. Sometimes when you got someone that's so great that they can overcome your deficiencies as a trainer or as a coach, so we see it all the time in other sports and we call it out. We say, hey, that's a great team. Their coach never won until he got with this team. And hey, look, it goes both ways. Sometimes I see great coaches with ordinary fighters and people be expecting, extraordinary things to happen in the ring and it don't. So same difference with the opposite way, an extraordinary talent with an average coach. You still can get wins. You can still win championships, because they that great. And the dog had a comment. I don't know what you wanted to say, boy. So the dog was commenting. He was saying that he agreed with me. Thank you. All right, there you go. Thanks, boy. So, right. But yeah, so we're gonna discuss those things that's going on, and anything else that everyone want to discuss. I started a few minutes early because I was gonna get started at like 2:15, but I just wanted to go ahead and get the ball rolling before then, kind of get things situated, what we're gonna talk about, and lay down the platform for the day. How we're going to do the show. So we definitely can talk about that. We can even touch on Esparza, her fight last night. She had a good fight. The girl, before the fight, the DAZN announcers was calling this girl a duck. And I mean, not a duck, but not duck like she ducking anyone, but like she was just, a easy mark. And the girl had a great showing, if there ever is such thing as a pretty loss, she had a pretty loss last night because she didn't get blowed out of the ring like they were saying, and they were saying, oh, it was bad matchmaking, and this girl, her record is so suspect and everything. And I'm gonna get you her name here in a second because I want to give her props. Eva Guzman. Eva Guzman had a great showing last night, man. I mean, Esparza is a bronze medalist, and she can fight. But the girl Guzman came in from Venezuela, and she 4'11", as a matter of fact. But she fought pretty good last night, even in the loss. Also, I'm definitely gonna want to touch it on Don King not paying Daniel Dubois' contract, man, for that fight. The only thing that had been paid, if I'm not mistaken, is a $300,000 or $400,000 that he had to pay up front that went towards the fighter, and I think $1.1 million is still owed to him. And I seen a lot of jokes out there about Don King and Don doing this, but hey, look, man, um, I don't think free labor is funny on no level. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's done by a brother, you can't just go out there, man, and steal. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, that's theft. That's thievery, man. Um, what's good? What's good, Cozy? I ain't heard from you in a while, brother. How you been, man? I'm doing good though. But yeah, so we definitely gonna touch on that with Don, man. I mean, Don out here stealing like it's 1984, man. Been outside for a little bit, but I'm back locked in. Hey, that's what's up, brother. It's hot out here everywhere too, man. So stay cool out there, man. Stay in the air condition. Um, but yeah, man, Don King out here stealing from guys like it's still 1984. The man in his 90s, and he doing the same thing he was doing when he was 20, 30, or 40. And people say that folks, when they get older, that they change, man. Don been the same forever. The man been the same for 90 years. He can live 90 more years. He gonna still be stealing. He gonna do it right in broad daylight in front of anybody. He doing it like, the way that guy he take from you like, look, what you gonna do about it? I'm not gonna pay you this $1 million. And what you gonna do? You're gonna sue me? I'll hold you up in court till I die. Unfortunately, that's what could happen. What is he gonna do? The man in his 90s. What is he gonna do? If he decide and say, I ain't gonna pay you, what could be the sanctions? What's gonna happen other than him not getting paid the rest of that $700,000? What's gonna happen? What's gonna be the repercussions? You tell Don, you're not gonna be able. Yeah, that's pure greed. What's good is all the money in the world if a man gotta sell his soul process. Facts, Cozy. Facts, man. What's going on, D Hive? How you doing, brother? Like, yeah. How you doing, D Hive?
I'm good. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Before we touch on everything, I was touching on Don King just taking that money from Daniel Du Bois and basically like, what you gonna do about it? I'll hold you up in court till I die. Just another situation of a guy just doing whatever he want to. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I've been listening to the whole show from the background. I just had to get my stuff situated.
Okay, gotcha.
I was gonna I was gonna say, we're in a recession. And inflation is high. You gotta get it how you live, and also and also the onus of responsibility, if we're keeping it 100, is really on Daniel Dubois management. Don King is old as hell. Okay, we all know what he's been on. I've never met Don King, and I know what he's been on. The fact that he didn't secure any bread up front is really what's wrong with you.
Absolutely. The only brand he got up front was the 400,000 that the WBA, they make you pay an upfront fee in a because I believe it was a mandatory fight, and Don won the purse bid. So he got the purse bid money that was put up because they put up a certain amount. I believe it's like 30 or 40% of all the money. And so that's pretty much what Daniel Du Bois got. That's it.
Okay, well, at least that's something. But
yeah, I'm about to say that's more than a lot of people. I've seen fights over the last 25, 30 years where, okay, let me give you this. It's a guy named William Guthrie, right? William Guthrie was a light heavyweight champion in the at some point in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, right? He from Chicago. A thug. Matter of fact, one of his great things that he used to like to do was talk about how he was illiterate until he went to prison and and learned how to read. And he won a world title, right? So William got stiffed by Don. Hey man, if you ain't willing to go to the streets with Don, you won't get that money. He went to the streets on Don and got paid. You know what I'm saying? And people forget about the story about Mike Tyson was telling the story about how he punched Don King in the face and chased him around on the freeway out in California. So you have to be extreme with Don. Unfortunately, he one of those guys. You from LA, right? So you know these guys, man. There are guys out here, no cozy on them. Guys out here that'll say, "Hey, you ain't gonna get paid. If you want your money, come get it with your muscle." And Don seemed like one of those guys that he say, "Hey, come get it with your muscle." So sometimes that's how you got to get it with him.
My grandfather always used to say that some people, and this is a Southern term, so you probably get this. My grandfather always used to say, you see, some people don't understand that fat means greasy until they get burned.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to turn the heat up on somebody to let them understand that this fat is greasy now.
Yes.
Yeah. So unfortunately, Daniel Dubois and his soft ass probably not gonna see that money.
Probably not. Because and this is, and I'm not wishing this on nobody death because it's gonna come for all of us. But when you're in your 90s, you closer than a lot of people. Right. Don King is the type that will hold it up, and then he dies, and then they have to sort it out through probate and all that. So Daniel Dubois might get that money 5 years from now or whatever. You get what I'm saying? But like I'm with you, I don't foresee news report come through, a boxing news report come through. Oh my God! Breaking news: Daniel Dubois received a $700,000 check today. I don't foresee that happening.
Right, and what's even worse is that considering how much protracted litigation costs, he'd have to spend up the little bit he get in court trying to get the other half.
Absolutely, definitely.
That's tragic.
Definitely. And after the lawyers sort through everything, they'll send him a check out for about $10,000 or something like that. And that's the Don King way. He's done that his entire career, man. And it used to be the joke, Don King pays you more stealing from you than someone else does giving you the entire purse. But hey, man, I never lived by that. When you steal from me, you steal from me. I don't care about someone else couldn't pay me as much. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man. Look, but let's transition from good old Don to what we saw last night. I'm gonna start with the Mo Hooker fight, man. First, let's start off with good old Mo. First of all, and Bo Mack is gonna be mixed in there with Mo, but we're gonna start on Mo first. No, we're gonna put Bo in there with Mo. He weighed in at 150 pounds. The weight limit was 147 last night. Now, I'm going to address, because I don't normally name people out by name, but I must because they know that I mean well, that I'm not calling them out to insult them, okay? But in the ring with Christine, has said something on the show, and she didn't call me out by name, but she was meaning the conversation we had. And I think I said this to you as well, that Gary Antoine Russell shouldn't have been fighting last week or a week after, whenever it was, a week or two ago, right? Because it was so close to that death of his father, who also doubled as his trainer. See what I'm saying? And Gary Russell end up as well, even though Gary did a decent job in the corner, Gary's still thinking about his career, you know what I'm saying, and getting his title back. So you're going to have to bring in an extra face. You get what I'm saying? And so I said that, and she said, well, you got to be professional, da-da-da-da-da. Right. Everything she said was right. I think I was also right. Gary Antoine still won the fight, right? And he came in on weight. Well, Mo Hooker missed weight. And if you can remember, after the weigh-in, this was before Bud confronted Blair Cobb for whatever reason I don't understand. But Mo Hooker said when in all the talking he said, he also said, and I done lost the lady that died that was real close to him. She died a few weeks ago while he was training for this fight.
The photographer?
The photographer. They were real tight. I guess their relationship goes way back, okay? And he said something. He said something about that. So this ain't me speaking out of turn and putting something in the atmosphere that doesn't, it happens sometimes. People put things in the atmosphere and no one has said it. But he said it. So he opened the door for this. Maurice Hooker said that affected him without even being asked a question, because he was getting angry with Blair Cobb. And I saw Christine was in the corner with Mo Hooker last night. So I'm saying that I feel that death had something to do with his preparation. But I'm going to end it right there at the preparation part, because the loss part was Bomac. I've never seen the guy cut the ring off last night. He allowed Blair Cobb to move in and out at will, come in on him. He didn't cut the ring off. He wasn't jabbing. He didn't throw in combinations until they got tied up. It was one of the worst Maurice Hooker performances I ever seen. And I'm going to give Maurice Hooker some blame, and I'm going to give Bomac some blame, a lot of blame, because people are still waiting to see. And I've been saying this for 2 years or longer. What can you do outside of the great Terrence Crawford? Now you can go ahead and shoot, brother.
I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I can appreciate the reality of someone's passing having an emotional effect. And, when you're stressed out, you retain fat and gain weight and all that. And I get it, but I personally think Mo Hooker was just trying to have some shit to say, like, back to them in regards to weight loss. Because they was cooking them. Blair was cooking them, and they was cooking them. Blair was cooking.
Well deserved too.
Right, because I'm thinking, bro, you came up from 140 where you haven't missed weight. You have championship credentials. You only had one fucking fight at 147, and that was against Virgil, which you got knocked out. How are you 3 pounds overweight, got these two in your corner, and you still getting styled on? Not only that, you just bro, Virgil Ortiz Jr. is a far superior pressure fighter than Blair Cobb. You should have had all the experience you needed. Now, you didn't get knocked out because Blair ain't shit, and that's okay. But I'm just thinking, you have experience with Virgil Ortiz Jr., some people are calling the best welterweight out right now, and you over here struggling to counter Blair? Did you learn nothing from that fight? Did you retain no data from that fight? Blair isn't even a good southpaw. And also, one thing I'm gonna need to happen from now on is that if Terrence Crawford decides to take time out of his busy schedule and his wealthy life to actually corner somebody, I don't want to hear Bomac talking. I really don't. I really don't, to be quite honest. It's like whenever I don't remember if Bomac has ever done a Shakur fight, but like I can't imagine Bomac trying to give Shakur any advice. Like, could you just be quiet while I'm trying to figure this out? Like, that's really how I feel about the situation. Because Terrence Crawford did what every coach is supposed to do: 3 to 4 concise instructions. That's it. Bomac just back there talking. Like, what the hell?
What's up, Ronnie Bravo? How you doing, brother? If you want to jump in, you can. I'm gonna put the link in the comments. Anybody else want to jump in? All right, go ahead, brother.
No, that's all I was gonna say. Bomac just back there babbling. I'm like, bro, we understand what's happening, but Terrence Crawford already said that in a much more concise pattern. Why are you still, jumbling and babbling about? Oh, man, you gotta. All he does is say, you gotta box him. You gotta box him. You gotta box this dude. He gave the same instructions to Terrence Crawford versus everybody.
Everybody.
You just gotta box him.
You gotta box him.
You gotta box him. Like, what is that?
You gotta get in. Hey, look, man. It goes to show, the thing that people like to talk about with Roger Mayweather And that comment, I mean, that's true. But at the same time, it just goes to show this, man. Um, Everyone that's in boxing, that's deep into boxing, that doesn't mean that you're an expert. All right. It just means that you know enough to look, so that people will say, hey, he ain't incompetent. But it doesn't mean you're an expert. It doesn't even mean that you know what you're talking about. It just means that you've been around a gym long enough to have to be able to give the right lingo. Jihad, you in the corporate world, I'm sure you see that every day. People be in there, they don't know what they doing, but they done heard enough talk from being in enough meetings to where the point that they could just get by chest off that. You get what I'm saying? And that's the thing with Bomac. Bomac has done enough and he's seen enough to where he can say, a couple little things, and he looked good enough where another fighter say, well, you know what? He got a lot of good wins with Bud Crawford. Let me try him.
Right. No, I definitely agree. And my thing is that even the instructions that Terrence Crawford was giving, Maurice didn't respond. He just did the same shit he was doing. I'm like, dude, let's not, like, why are you acting like you don't understand how to box? We understand you can. Like, if I can see that Maurice Hooker cannot handle pressure well, this is something you should know about yourself. Back up, step off. Like, even Danny Garcia made some damn adjustments from the Spence fight. You notice how he was, throwing his jab, ducking under, and then stepping around once he realized that Benavidez's power was actually not bullshitting. Like, he was like, oh, man, okay, Benavidez can actually punch now. Well, I mean, he sucks, but let me be careful. He got his work off, stepped around. The same thing that Lubin's coach was asking him to do with Fedor that he didn't do. He just shelled up and took the shot. Mo Hooker did the same thing. I'm like, bro, what are you doing, man? You heard what Terrence said.
And to be honest with you, bro, it looks terrible right now for the brother career. It looks real bad. He's at rock bottom right now.
Oh, he looking like food.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He looked like a shot fighter. He looked like a guy that's no longer gonna fight a champion. He's no longer gonna fight a contender. He looked like a guy that is ready-made for prospects. Prospects, guys with 8-10 fights. They're gonna be calling out Maurice Hooker now. You're gonna have a guy just came out of the Olympics with 3 or 4 fights saying, hey, put me in the ring with Maurice Hooker. Like, that's what his career looked like right now. It looks bad, man. It looks bad. And because at 47, we already know he ain't gonna fight the elite. And when you fight and lose to Blair Cobb, bro, you at the prospect type level or below. You at a fight where the card starts at 9, you're fighting at 5 o'clock, 5:30. I just gotta be honest about that, and it ain't. And sometimes hearing what it is the only thing that's either gonna bring you out of it, whatever funk you in, or tell you that it's time to let it go. Because boxing is a hard game, so I don't know what he want to do, but right now it don't look good.
Yeah, he better get back on some prelims or something.
Yeah, like some tune-up level fights.
Yeah. Somebody watched. Like, I remember this dude on Twitter was saying he could fight like Robert Guerrero or Devon Alexander or somebody.
No, he said Victor Ortiz. Yeah, he sent that tweet to me because it was funny because he said LOL with it. He know that guy done.
But that's some real shit. That might be.
That's true. Yeah,
that might be. Yeah, Victor. I mean, come on, because it's just Maurice. He can't punch really. So I mean,
but Victor can punch.
Oh wow! So you said Maurice Hooker might mess around and get wiped out?
How he get that belt at 140? Well, here's the thing. If I'm not mistaken, Maurice Hooker. Let's look at who Maurice Hooker beat. All right, and let's look at Maurice Hooker's career leading up to that title fight. Because if I ain't mistaken, he was over there with DAZN.
Oh yeah, he fought.
And and I think he was fighting with Lou DiBella, but it was on the zone. So let's,
He beat Terry Flanagan by split decision.
Terry Flanagan, a guy
Christ.
that was I believe was a career 130 pounder, or 126 pounder. Was never a killer. Okay, Terrence Flanagan, Southpaw. I remember that out of England. Yeah, Manchester, England. Yeah. Go ahead. Go. What was his next fight after that?
After Terry Flanagan, he fought an Alex Saucedo, who he knocked smooth out.
A Mexican face first fighter with Top Rank. I remember him like it was yesterday.
Then he fought another Lou DiBella fighter, which is Mikel Lespierre on the zone.
Little short southpaw black guy that can't fight dead.
Yeah,
and
he whooped his ass.
Yeah, and the fight right before Flanagan when he won the title, he beat Courtney Jackson, and I remember Courtney Jackson. So, bro, I'm just gonna put it out there, Mo Hooker, and I'm happy for him because Mo got a lot of kids, and his children life, and that's something that need to be applauded. That he just doing his fatherly duties, but bro, it's over. Because that ain't no killer list. Like Cozy said, hey, 140 was food then. And then he lost the title to Ramirez.
Right. And that's I be trying to tell these dudes, it's just like when Jose Ramirez came out there and looked like ass against Pedraza, and then everyone started to be like, "Oh, actually, Ramirez was just B level." I'm like, "Yeah, because you goaded him off smoking Hooker." He knocked out Hooker, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this is the next thing." People were picking him to beat Josh Taylor, and real dudes knew, like, dude, Josh Taylor was getting ready to wash this dude. Like, what are you talking about? And Josh Taylor is not even all that. And then we get in there and gets damn near stopped multiple times. All of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, well, Josh Taylor's the truth." And then we're like, "No, he's not." Then Catterall gets in there. "Oh shit, maybe Josh Taylor is average." It's like, what? Y'all just say stuff.
Man, that's why D-Hive, I stay consistent in what I said and think about fighters, regardless of their what type of performance they gave. You get what I'm saying? Because a lot of times I say it about a guy off a good performance. So when they start going downhill one fight later, I don't want nobody to say, "Oh, well, we got a Captain Obvious that's on the internet." I don't want to ever be him. But so I go on and call it when I see it, which is usually early. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't need things like weight issues or whatever to something was gonna happen. Like when Maurice Hooker went up in weight to fight Virgil Ortiz Jr., I knew right then he was gonna get stopped. I literally called it on Instagram. I was like, Ortiz in 7. Maurice Hooker is not that guy. He got he got straight dusted by Ramirez, and he's moving up in weight. And his first fight at welterweight is Virgil Ortiz Jr. It's just like I didn't need the Catterall fight to tell me that Josh Taylor would get absolutely smoked by Tank and Bud.
Right.
I didn't need that damn fight.
No, didn't need it. And Cozy, let me answer that question. Well, first of all, Bomac, the corner work he did last night, he looked like he was doing corner work at Saturday Night Live or something, man. I mean, that wasn't one of his best performances right there. He needs to, how we try to erase things out of our memory. He need to erase that out of his memory. And Mo Hooker he looked like an amateur last night. Not even close, come close to cutting the ring off. And I'm going to tell you something else. He might have been able to cut the ring off. Sometimes guys don't want to cut the ring off because they don't want to engage. Have we thought about that?
That's real.
He got knocked down. Every time he engaged, he got hurt, buzzed, or knocked down. The only time he engaged the guy is when they was in close and he started swinging away when they was in close. Other than that, even though he had the reach, he had all the advantages, he didn't want to engage. I have to call it like I see it. And give me all the smoke on Spence. If Spence and Bud, this is something, D-Hive and Cozy, I know y'all heard me say this a million times. If it come down to the corner work, Bud ain't going to win. Bud Crawford is great, and he great enough to win this fight without a great corner. But that's what's going to have to happen because that corner work with Bomac now, Red and one of those guys, they may have to step up because I actually think that Red's a good trainer. I think that Red's a good trainer.
I honestly think that.
I actually think that he should be the head trainer, but they got it the way they do. Yeah, by the way, I think that Blair gonna fight Virgil too, because like I was saying before the show, where the Golden Boy go? Because if he go over there on the PBC side, he ain't throwing him in the ring with Stanionis. Stanionis is too young. He ain't like green beans. He can fight. You know what I'm saying? He ain't gonna go down, get knocked down the first round, and nah. And you know he ain't throwing him in with boots. Go ahead, D.I.
I was gonna say also they got lucky they have an excuse. Stanionis is pro bellum, so he probably on that damn list because he's out of the country right now. So yeah,
Woo!
So his ass.
I know he wish he stayed in California.
Yeah, his ass back in Lithuania, or whatever the hell he from, spinning that bread, buying buying Benzes and shit. So he's not gonna be back for a little while.
And writing yoga. Welcome to the show. Listen, I admit that I feel that Hooker was affected by the loss of the photographer, which was his lifelong friend that was a part of his team. Basically, I feel that. And that's why I said you didn't hear me, and that's why I said to Christine the week before about Gary Antoine Russell losing his father. I mean, man, we don't know, and you could take this by somebody. I know all of us had lost someone. Losing my mother was different than losing my brother. Losing this person was different than losing that person. So you don't know how your body or your mind is going to react to losing someone. I mean, so, I feel that played a part. It played a part. And we've been having these discussions in all the sports recently and in life about mental health, right? Well, if it's any time, in boxing that your mental health ain't right, I think you need to pull out in a fight because you don't want to go into a fight not being focused, and you got issues as far as training as well. So he didn't make the weight, and then his mental health issues were off because of the death. And I admit, and you could tell early in the fight because Gary Antoine Russell struggled early in the fight because with Gary Russell, it was like, man, I'm really out here without my father that trained me since I was 5 years old. I'm in a big fight on Showtime, big lights. If I win, I'm ranked in the top 5, all this stuff in your head, and I just buried him. And then the first couple rounds he struggled. With Hooker, this was somebody, a part of his team, meant something to him, somebody in past interviews and stuff. He talked about it. You know what I'm saying? So that person leaves him, dies weeks before your fight. And then the first round, and then D-Hive said something that was right. He didn't make the weight. So then he brought it up again. You see what I'm saying? So it was just a bad night for Hooker. But Hooker, to me, needs to just go back to the drawing board. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to a couple fights that nobody sees and one of those shows in Laredo somewhere, or go into Mexico, fight a couple fights that nobody see, and come back in there and go to work, man. Ronnie Bravo.
What's up?
Ronnie, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big fan of you, Julius. Thanks for letting me on, man.
Hey, man, anytime, man. I appreciate it. What you think about that last night before we start touching on Virgil Ortiz? What you think about that Hooker thing we talking about, brother?
Man, he disappointed me so much last night.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like he looks like he's done. Like he ain't into it no more. When you look at a fighter, and he's just going through the motions. I understand about his photographer or whatever she was who died and everything. But like, you got to clear that out when you get in the ring. This is a dangerous sport.
Yes. Cozy, how you doing, brother? Ronnie talking right now about the show. About the fight, and you gonna be next. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, I just feel like, you got to clear your head when you go up in that sport. When you go in that ring, I understand he got a lot of things going on, but when you get in that ring, you think about your fist, his fist, and nothing else.
Right, facts.
You don't think about anything else, and it just showed. Well, first of all, the fight starts on the scales. You know what I'm saying? So it showed when he got on the scales and he was so like 5 pounds over or whatever he was. He weighed like what, 150?
Yeah, and it was a 147. And this ain't his first time missing weight either.
Exactly. It's not his first time ever missing weight, so he just seems like he don't care at this point. So at that point, it's time to bow out before somebody really take you out of here.
And that's what I mean, man. Your mental health ain't right, and you don't want to do it, you'll get killed in this game. Coach, what you think, brother?
Man,
Coach,
you hear me?
Yes. What's up, brother? How you doing? Salute.
I'm good. How you doing, Julius? It's good. Long
Yes,
time
sir.
no talk, man, but see y'all doing, everybody well
Yes,
on
sir.
the panel. But back to last night, man. Serious question. This is the first time I ever seen Mo Hooker fight. It wasn't just that he looked off, quote unquote, because I never seen him fight before. It looked like he couldn't fight. Like the technique was off. He was throwing punches wildly off balance. Like you said, he was just following Blair Cobbs around the ring, a guy who was doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. No adjustments made by him. So to me, honestly, like the thing that stood out the most to me was in the corner when Bud was talking to him. There was no communication, no real eye contact back. And to me, it looked like a person who wasn't in the ring. So I'm not sure if he's still in boxing, but he's going to need to at least take some time, maybe a month, 2 months off, to really evaluate if he want to box again. Because the guy that I saw last night in the ring would lose to anybody he stepped into the ring with next. And then you got to ask yourself, what's the point? You know what I mean? So that's just how I feel.
Hey, look, man, you absolutely right about you got to take a couple, months or whatever. And that's why I brought up his children, because if you ever see Maurice Hooker at a fight or anywhere, man, and I think he got 5 or 6 kids, but they close knit, brother. He loved them kids. You got to think about it, man. You got to, boxing is one of these sports, man, that you have to ask yourself physical questions. You have to be like, hey, do I want to do this again? This ain't me standing out at the 3-point line waiting on somebody to throw me the ball and I shoot it wide open. Right. People trying to kill me. Now, what you want to do? Because I was saying to D-Hive earlier, I don't know if y'all heard, at this stage of the game, Mo Hooker looked like somebody that's not going to be fighting top guys, that's not even going to be fighting contenders. He looked like a guy that's going to be fighting a prospect. It's going to be guys, it might be a 2-0 Cuban or top American welterweight that came out with last year from the Olympics or whatever, and they may call out Maurice Hooker tomorrow. It looked like they could be competitive and beat him.
Yeah, he'd be the sacrificial lamb.
Bro,
he looked like a lamb right now.
I was about to say, the guy I saw last night, man, bro, what's my man name? All them little young boys from ESPN, they were all seriously.
Tiger Johnson?
Seriously. Kelvin Davis.
Yeah.
They looking at him like, oh, yeah, buddy.
Yeah, right. Hooker 33.
Oh, my God. He fights like
that's that time to. Yeah, he got to reevaluate for real. It kind of reminded me of, remember when Jamel Herring fought a couple weeks ago? And Herring had better technique. But I'm just saying in terms of like the tenacity and the will, it just was not there. The same thing. It just looked like he was going through the motions last night. So for me, I just probably advise him. If he was my man, I'd be like, yo, bro, I think it's time to hang it up, man. I really do.
Right. Well, look, man, let me ask you and Cozy a question. Y'all can take turns on who asking it. What do y'all think of Bomac performance in the corner?
Don't get me started.
Man, boy.
D-Hive, look, it's a serious question, D-Hive.
again? I missed it.
It don't matter. Either one of y'all answer first, man.
Okay, I got you.
What was the question? I missed it. I missed it. What was the question?
He asked, "What do you think of Bo Mac's performance in the corner?"
Oh shit!
Honestly, he was really quiet for the most part. Bud was giving Hooker instructions, and then every now and then Bo Mac would be like, "Hey man, you can't let him outwork you, man. Don't let him outwork you, man. Hey man, that's about it.
You gotta box him.
If I'm ready to go still, I mean, he's consistent. That's an A+ for Bo Mac.
Yeah, there you go.
He go Bo Mac. He go Bo Mac.
Get him out of here.
That's all Bo Mac says. He just goes, "You gotta box him.
You
You
gotta
gotta
box him,
box this motherfucker, man. You gotta box him."
You know,
That's all he said.
when he throws your punch, you gotta move your head to the left, to the right.
Right, you gotta move your feet and then work your jab, box him. And then meanwhile,
If he get
Terrence
close,
Crawford
throw
is
your
giving
punch.
actual instructions. I'm like, Bo Mac, just be quiet and get the damn water.
Hey, let me tell you, man. Bo Mac, my man, because when he was the announcer, y'all remember a couple times they let Bo Mac be the announcer on ESPN for fights?
No.
Yeah, go back and Google this. Yeah, Bo Mac did some announcing, and y'all remember Mark Jackson that do it with the NBA.
Yeah.
So Bo Mac kept saying, "Mama, there go that man," and I was saying to myself, like, and then some of the things that y'all just said that he was saying last night in the corner, it looked like Bo Mac just be listening to other people and things they say, because that's what I heard other guys say. Not sure he could teach though. Bo Mac, no. Well, Yogi, that's a good question. That's a good comment you made, because this is something that I had said earlier. That a lot of times it's like, and I had said this to D-Hive, and I'm sure you might know, Cozy, Ronnie, that it's like being in a business, right? And a guy had been in enough meetings to where they know the lingo, but they don't know what they're talking about. But they know enough lingo to talk and tell you things to the point where you don't even question if that they don't know anything. You just assume that they know, because they know how to repeat back the lingo that they hear on a daily basis. But they can't teach it.
Yeah, that was me for many years.
Hey, Ronnie. Hey, at least you real about it. Hey, that was my entire military career. Well, you know what I'm saying? Look, I was a 13 Echo, right? So that was 5 direction, FDS, right? And when they say the one thing that I knew is when they said fire mission, I say fire mission grid, and I grabbed the missile. That's all I knew how to do, bro. Grab the missile and put it in. I ain't know nothing else. They be like grid 7, 3, 4. I ain't know what they were talking about. I just grabbed the missile and threw it in there, bro.
Right, fake it till you make it.
I faked it for 3 years. Faked it.
Yep. And that's
All right, man. How you doing, brother?
What's going on, man? Enjoying my Sunday.
Hey, that's what's up. We enjoying, man. We having some fun up here today, man.
Y'all
We just
y'all
having
talking
fun.
about your man Bo Mac?
Yeah, we was talking about Bo Mac, man, and Writing Yogi just said that Bo Mac might know, not sure he could teach it, and I was just saying, and I had made an analogy about in the military how I didn't know what I was doing, how they would say fire mission, and I would holler fire mission and grab the missile and throw it in, but I didn't know what they were doing or what they were talking about. I just could talk it. I didn't know what it was, and that's what we kind of figured is going on with Bo Mac, because I saw Bo Mac when he was announcing on the ESPN's a couple fights. This was a couple years ago, how he kept repeating "Mama, there go that man" in every single fight, and I was like, man, at least Mark Jackson said when somebody make a good dunk or something. I mean, you just throwing it out there. So he just crazy, man. But what did you think of Maurice Hooker? And then we're gonna move on to Virgil Ortiz. What do you think of Blair?
I was last night. I was watching that new Predator movie, and then I had the little side monitor showing the fight. And every time I turn to the side and watch the fight, I'm looking like, man, this shit looks terrible. Seriously. But I did notice that Maurice Hooker was losing. I saw him that he got dropped or whatever, and I went back and watched the highlights. Man, I ain't gonna lie. Losing to Blair Cobbs in 2022 is not a good look.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about is like, unfortunately, right now, D-Hive, Cozy, and Ronnie was talking about different guys that are like 3-0 or 4-0 that they ready for Maurice Hooker right now because Blair Cobb, like you just said, is not a high level guy that you just lost to. Like you didn't just get dissected by
Blair Cobb's got stopped this year and he beat you.
Right. Beat you up. Not
Here's
just
the thing about that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
He got 3 knockdowns.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He got beat up so bad for Blair Cobb. It's like look, Blair, he definitely improved since his last fight. I'll give him that. He did some improvement and everything, but not enough to a point where he should be beating you like he was. Like you walking right into stuff. Like he had his eyes closed, swinging. Sometimes you walk right into it, and he on your butt. Like,
Man,
He looked
man, over and over again too.
yeah, I don't like. He had and you like when you look at the size difference, like he was so much bigger than Blair. You should be running him down, walking him down, and taking every punch he has. But at that point, it was like he had him. Blair Cobb had him gunshot. Like he was afraid to fight. He stand right in front of him. And I understood what Bo Mack was talking about when he was saying that, but like you got the guy right in front of you, and you're not even like letting off. You just letting him run around the ring, dance around the ring, and do whatever he need to do. Like
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like I could have put up a better fight than that last night.
Yeah. Well, this is what I had said earlier, Ronnie, that he didn't cut the ring off because when a guy cuts the ring off, they cut the ring off to engage.
Exactly.
So he didn't want to engage, especially after the first couple rounds when the man kept putting him on his butt and stunned him. So he felt like if he keep running around the ring, I can hold my hands out like this and make people think that I'm trying to fight, and he ain't. Sometimes the mental game. Teddy Atlas said a silent agreement. Yeah, guys make them.
And that's the worst part about it. I understand that Blair Flair is dangerous. Blair Flair is one of those fighters it's kind of like Isaac Cruz. He's dangerous because of his lack of elite boxing skill. Like if you get close to him, he'll just panic and let both hands go. I get all that. But Maurice Hooker not only had the amateur pedigree, the championship experience, and the reach advantage to defeat that, but it was just, like I said, the basics. He wasn't jabbing when he came in. He wasn't doing like the counter uppercut or the counter overhand right or anything. He couldn't fight off the back foot. It was like he just stood there, shelled up, and treated like I said on Twitter. He made Blair Cobb look like Regis Prograis in there.
Yeah.
Like
he forgot how to fight.
See, and the only thing I want to say too is somebody said earlier that they thought Blair Cobb's better. I didn't think he got better in that ring. He's doing the same thing he'd been doing the entire time, jumping in and out all crazy, literally ducking his head, throwing no-look wide hooks, you know what I'm saying, doing all that, clashing heads constantly. So it wasn't no great technique from Blair. It was really just Maurice Hooker just letting Blair get away with so much in that ring. So, yeah, as far as Blair goes, man, he's getting sacrificed to, Virgil or whoever next to. So,
And look, shout out to Roger Romo, which is no more than Religio Vargas, Fernando Vargas' brother. Roger Romo is his new trainer. But listen, let's go on and jump into Virgil Ortiz. I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm gonna give my little small take on Virgil. I thought that Virgil offensively is like what Virgil always does. He throw good shots. He's strong. He throw real good body punches. But he's in the line of fire for everything. And Virgil Ortiz is going to be, if he was on the PBC side and was able to fight all these top guys, he's going to be the Arturo Gatti of our era, because Virgil is going to be in bloody wars because he's going to be right there in your face. He's going to make you fight, and he's going to make you knock him out, or he's going to try to knock you out. But his defense, I couldn't trust Virgil Ortiz if he had the title. I couldn't see him being no long reigning champion because he's food. You know what I'm saying? He's right in front of you. You put him down, you could put him in a bowl, and you could start eating on him because he right there in front of you. But he is coming to seek and destroy, but he's right in front of you. Now y'all go ahead and break down what y'all think.
I personally, but Virgil Ortiz Jr. is what he is. You know, he's talented. I always say that he's seeing the forward Mexican style with an active jab makes him more dangerous because he understands the importance of a jab. A lot of the traditional Mexican style fighters throw that tool out the window.
True.
But you know, with all due respect, anybody that doesn't move their head at the top end of welterweight, you're not gonna make it. And it's just it is what it is. The boy doesn't move his head. He keeps his right hand real low. His jab is always active. And the crazy thing is right after that fight, I watched the Green Beans fight, and what Green Beans had in common is he caught both him and Terrence Crawford with that counter right. And I'm thinking if Stanionis or Boots let one of those off the chain, I mean, shit, even Thurman, like that might be a wrap for you, buddy. So you know, I mean, I think it's just levels. I think he's an excellent fighter, but on the boxing tip, you know, he lacks a little bit. And I think, you know, if those fights get made, which I doubt that they will, then we'll see. Like, if he decides to press Terrence Crawford, I'm like, bro, Bud will snatch you up out of there. He'll the rear uppercut from the southpaw position will rearrange your whole career. And you know, and Boots, I think, will do the same thing. He'll hit you with that crazy ass, that Castillo Clayton, and it'll be over with. So, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully we get some decent fights out of him. Like Conor Benn was talking shit, so maybe they can make that Conor Benn at some point. But yeah, you know.
So for me,
yeah, go ahead, Ronnie. No, go ahead.
No, this is Cozy.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Cozy. Go for it, brother.
Yeah, I'm just gonna piggyback off of what D-Hop just said, man. For me, he's about on that Conor Benn level, which is like I think him, Stanionis, and Conor Benn. If all three of them fought, you toss up. I think it's a toss up between the three of them. To me, last night, all it confirmed was he's clearly at best fourth. One thing about him, every punch is the same speed. Every single punch, the jab, the right hook, the right hand, whatever it is, he's doing it at the same speed. Like you said, he'll only lean back sometimes or try to maybe parry a punch, but he's really right there in line at all times. So, you know, McKinson, I thought McKinson looked like a 140-pounder in there, and that's cool and all. Virgil is big for the weight, but when he moves up eventually to even 154, even the things that he has that are advantages like that power and, you know, that tenacity is going to be kind of like taken away a little bit from him. So for me, Virgil, like D-Hop said, he is who he is. He's a good fighter. He has talent. Do I see him being a major player in boxing like a lot of people are trying to convince us of? No. Do I think he's going to be in some exciting fights? Yes. I want to see him versus Stanionis next because I don't know who's going to win that fight, but I know it's going to be a hell of a fight. So, yeah, that's what I think about it.
And another thing that I saw last night from a promotional standpoint is I want y'all guys to know I'm one of the few, and I think like a lot of us, I loved Oscar De La Hoya, man. He could fight. I mean, I'm talking about any era, any weight class from 130 to 154. Oscar could fight in any era. He won't no chump. You know what I'm saying? He didn't mind fighting brothers. He didn't mind fighting other Spaniards. He didn't care. But him as a promoter, outside of Richard Schaefer, Al Heyman, and HBO, and Steven Espinoza as his lawyer, Oscar De La Hoya can't promote, man. That stuff last night just showed me that Virgil Ortiz, because I see what type of personality Virgil Ortiz got. Virgil Ortiz ain't going to take no tough fights no more until he leave Golden Boy. I think he's going to be out of there. I do. They announced the crowd last night is 6,300. I just feel that Virgil is going to be on the verge of leaving Golden Boy. I don't think they're going to be able to keep him. I don't.
I feel like they will keep him.
I was gonna say I think they will keep him, and I disagree. Oscar know goddamn well.
No, I think Virgil is going to want to leave. I know Golden Boy want to keep him. I think Virgil is going to be on the verge of leaving. Virgil going to say, I don't want what they got to offer me because, he going to, number one, want to make the big money. And number two, he know he's not going to get it fighting Mickelson. And he know he's going to have to go to a promoter where he could get the big fights. And I think that Virgil Ortiz, after last night, seeing only like 6,000 people there, I think Virgil and Frisco, at where they were playing, where the fights were at North Texas, that holds like 17,000, 18,000 people.
I personally think that Oscar De La Hoya knows exactly what he's doing. The thing is that if he were to put his fighters in a position for these big money fights, he would just be serving up wins for other fighters. And I think he's got Virgil Ortiz Jr. on that Munguia and fucking Zerto diet. And with all due respect, I don't think Virgil gonna go nowhere. Because when people handed him the mic and they was talking about Terrence Crawford and all the big names, what'd he say? He ain't say nothing. He was just like, "Oh, I'd be grateful if it happened. It'd be cool. But I'm gonna try to fight again this year." He ain't want nothing.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something, D-Hive. Yogi got a great point. There's no champion level progression the way they promote not just him, but the Munguia. The same thing you just said about Munguia, and the same thing that you said about Zerto. Zerto left it. Zerto left it.
But Zerto's still on the zone though. Like
Zerto's on the zone, but Zerto left Golden Boy. And I'm just saying that at some point though, and I feel you, like Lamont Roach. I like Lamont Roach, but bro, Lamont Roach is gonna eventually find his way over there to the PBC side, or he's gonna find his way over to Top Rank. Man, Oscar De La Hoya is not promoting anyone to any level where they're gonna make money or big fights. And I agree that he would be serving them up. But these guys sometimes want to be served up. These guys want them 7-figure paydays. I don't think Munguia do. I think Munguia it would rather go 100-0 fighting there. But I believe that Zerto, which he showed us, wants to fight Bivol and Beterbiev and all those guys. And I think Ortiz wants to eventually show that he's somebody. Because remember, Ortiz ain't afraid to leave anybody and diss him at the door. He's a disrespectful guy. You know what I'm saying? Look at what happened with the Robert Garcia thing. The reporters, like this is Virgil MO. We ain't seen him at that level yet, but wait until he leave Oscar. Trust me on that. That's a prediction I'm making.
I hear you, but the one thing I would say is, one, Virgil's a big fish in a small pond right now. It's Ryan Garcia, him, and Zerto, whatever the name is.
Zerto gone.
Jaime Munguia.
Munguia, right.
Garcia, him, and Jaime Munguia.
Okay, right.
So there's that one. But two, we do know that Errol Spence and Bud is going to fight soon. When they do, more than likely they're going to vacate them belts. And if they can they probably have a good relationship with one of them organizations, probably the WBC, okay? Because I know he's highly ranked there. They'll get him in a fight with some, random person or whatever. He get that belt and hold it. That's what Oscar De La Hoya is probably pitching to him. And he's sitting there thinking about it. All right, I could just do that. I'm going to just wait it out. Because if he goes...
And that's what Virgil wants, too.
Right. Exactly.
Well, he's the mandatory for he's the mandatory for both of them, isn't he?
He's the mandatory for three.
Yeah. For three of them, okay.
For three. And has he activated his mandatory on any of them?
Not at all.
Absolutely not.
Okay, so that's the point. So he know what it is. Last night, he said, they all tied up and stuff like that. He don't want to fight Boots. He don't want to fight Bud.
No, that's not that.
He want to fight for
He definitely not fight Boots.
You don't even like Stan Jonas.
Yeah. Right.
Stan Jonas is a tough fight. Yeah.
He's mandatory. He's mandatory for the WBA Reggie that Stan Jonas has, and he ain't even calling him.
No.
And that's why I think the farthest he'll go from Golden Boy is just the zone. And just like what Cozy Rito said, they're gonna put it once the belts get vacated. They're gonna put him in position to smoke some scrub, and he's gonna be there. Basically gonna be like Terrence Crawford on Top Rank. He's gonna be the reigning champion. Everybody's ducking. Nobody wants smoke. He's just gonna be running through their whole fucking Euro program or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see no more Euro programs. Trust me. Tevin Farmer or in Artman, whereas Tevin Campbell has showed us enough of that level. You know what I'm saying?
So what you think about Mickelson in there, Julius?
I felt that he was a guy that was tailor-made for Virgil. He couldn't punch. He couldn't really run away from him and stink out the joint. They knew it was just going to be a guy that was going to just try to be tough, going to land a few shots. That's basically it, and get stopped, which he did. And he looked exactly how they thought he would look in there.
He was a moron. He threw away all his initial game plan that he used for his rest of the undefeated record. He abandoned that the first round. I was like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Facts, man.
I think he was trying to get Virgil on the back foot, but see, the problem is he has no punching power, and he didn't stay committed long enough to do that. So it was like, but the one thing about him, he looked real small in there. I was saying that when he was warming up, I'm not sure if he should move down to 140 if he can't, because, I mean.
Yeah, he could have a little success at 140, just as long as he stay away from, some killers. Like if he want to go the European route, he'll do good because he'll outbox a lot of those guys. And I want to touch on this thing as far as real fast. Former boxers and promoters have a more myopic focus on short-term progression rather than long-term progression. Arum sees 6 years ahead. Yeah, I mean, Arum, PBC, though they can see. I mean, they know how to build. But Oscar and Floyd seemingly have, those guys were so big stars in their day that a lot of times, man, when the spotlight leaves a person with a real big, that was a real big ego, a real big star, they don't want it to leave them. You know what I'm saying? Oscar's a little better than Floyd as far as, putting himself, out in the front for. But then again, Oscar also put his foot in his mouth all the time and does crazy things. I mean, and also with Oscar, the drugs and the fishnets, those two scandals hurt him, man. They hurt Oscar. And pretty much, let's be honest, Oscar, when he had Al Heyman and Richard Schaefer under his belt, under the Golden Boy umbrella, Oscar De La Hoya was the #1 promoter in boxing. And if he had stayed off drugs, he would still have Deontay Wilder. He would still have Errol Spence. He would still have Danny Garcia, the Charlo brothers. I can go on and on and on. Oscar would have Showtime locked up, and DAZN still would mess with him. So I don't understand. Like I say, I do understand. Oscar drug addiction and the fishnets, hurt him. He would be over Floyd Mayweather as a promoter. Now check that out. Figure that thing out. Al Heyman made millions with Floyd Mayweather.
Did y'all hear what Nacho Beristain said about
Al Heyman made millions with Floyd Mayweather, but his #1 promoter, that his go-to guy was Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy. So I'm just telling you, had Oscar kept it together, Yogi, I feel like Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy would be the #1 promotion in boxing today. They would have all the talent.
It helps to have Floyd Mayweather as your #1 fighter, though, because
absolutely, 100%.
He'll come out and say that I was independent or I don't have a promoter, but we all know he was a Golden Boy fighter.
He was a Golden Boy fighter, yes.
Yeah, he had a long leash. Yes. He was a little different. But
because in 07, Floyd received his biggest payday fighting under Golden Boy Promotions twice, when he fought Oscar and when he fought Ricky Hatton. That was his biggest paydays. But let me say this though, Ronnie, or Cozy, whichever one was talking. Here's the thing too. Oscar and Steven Espinoza. People forget Steven Espinoza was real big negotiating them deals, and he parlayed that into his Showtime job. But it's a team, man. It's a team effort, and I think that Oscar don't have the same. By not having the same team now, that's hurt Golden Boy. And now without the team, you don't have the fighters, and it's just and it looked over for him. It really do. It looked over like they just gonna be only fighting, European talent. But go ahead, D-Hop.
And his chief advisor was B-Hop.
Yeah, Noah Hogan. That's it. That's it, man. I would rather have Al Heyman, Richard Schaefer, and I put it to you like this: had Richard Schaefer stayed with Golden Boy, he would have never been a part of Pro Bellum, and he would have never got with Daniel Kinahan.
Well, all those fighters would still be a Golden Boy.
It would still be a Golden Boy. No, Daniel Kinahan wouldn't have been as big as he was. Ain't that something? Inbox.
Or Al Heyman.
Well, Al Heyman was always a part of that Golden Boy team. So it was Al Heyman was like Al Heyman and Shelly Finkel was like the guys that went and got the people. And we got my man up here. My main man, Check. What's going on, brother? Checkmate. He been having some technical difficulties, I believe. But yeah, go ahead, man. Checkmate. You up here? All right, anyway, as Checkmate get his thing together. So, D-Hive, who you want to see Virgil Ortiz fight next?
I mean, keep it 100, just so we can get some questions answered. I would love the Boots fight, but that's not going to happen. And you know what?
Right.
I heard that the sanctioning bodies were talking about a mandatory consolidation deal where the two sanctioning bodies can get together and only make one Mando. But I don't hear none of that talk for Boots and Virgil because they are the Mandos. Like Virgil is the mandatory for 3 out of the 4, and Boots is only the IBF. So how about we consolidate some shit? Because they talking all that for the lower weight classes. They doing that, but then we can't get that here. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But if Terrence Crawford don't want to sign the paperwork, which it seems like that's the situation, we can go ahead and get that smoke going if he actually wants to press his Mando. Stanionis is out the country, so let's not do that. Or I mean, if that fight don't get signed, if he wants to fight Spence, just fight somebody certified. I understand that people like to give him credit because Terrence Crawford knocked out Green Beans and Mo Hooker was a champion at one point. Okay, good. Sounds good. Great. Fantastic. Let's get some certified welterweights.
Okay. How about you, Ronnie? Who you want to see Virgil fight next? Because I vote Boots Ennis. Go ahead. Who you got?
Yeah, I think Boots would be a good one. I wouldn't mind him fighting Crowley either, to be honest with you. I think Crowley's ranked like 1 below him.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would rather see him fight Crowley because if he goes against Boots, I know they're trying to build that for like a future fight and everything, like a future super fight, which I don't see as a super fight. But if he does go that route, it's gonna get ended early. Yeah, if he goes that route, it's gonna go early for him. It's no way in the world he's gonna beat Boots. So I think Oscar knows that, and I think the Zone knows that because if you look at last night's telecast and everything, they was asking, is he ready for Terrence Crawford? You think he's ready for Boots? I think Todd Grisham was asking that, and Sergio was like, he was trying to play coy, like, he's a dog. Terrence Crawford's a dog. It'll be a great fight, but it was a little undertone when he was like, he ain't ready for no Terrence Crawford, and he know that. And if he know that, then the promotion knows that, the network knows that, so they're gonna keep him far away from Boots as possible. That fight isn't gonna happen for like the next 4 or 5 years, or knowing boxing probably 10. So I mean, I just don't see him fighting Boots. So I'll try to go for the realistic matchup and have him fight Crowley. Let's just go ahead and get that over with.
Checkmate. What you think? who you want to see Virgil Ortiz fight next, and if you want to break down the fight from last night, because all us done broke it down. What you think? What you saw? All right, he having technical difficulty. Koza, you want to jump in there? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Conor Ben maybe would be.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's just because Conor Ben got the zone, like, you know what I'm saying, and so he does too. Obviously, I'd love to see Boots, but I highly doubt the level of that happen. And Spence and Bud is caught up. So yeah, Conor Ben.
Was talking about this too.
Yeah, and let me add something about that D-Hive said about Bud and Spence holding things up. I'm gonna say this. I don't know. I think that it is holding up things if they're not gonna fight. If they're not gonna fight, and we just gonna go through this another 4-5 months, yes, 100%. That's a hold up. And I don't want to see Mayweather Pacquiao Part 2 as far as the negotiation. But I will say this. The way that guys who are not savvy at talking on the microphone, and what I mean is Derek James and some of those guys, the way that they're talking, it has me thinking that even if it's not a done deal, that is so close that these guys have already started training for one another. You know what I'm saying? And I don't see Derek James as being a liar. And he acts as if that Spence is training for that situation. But checkmate, are you straight now?
Okay, can you hear me, Jules?
Yes, I can hear you, brother. I can hear you. Give me your breakdown of Virgil Ortiz's fight last night and who you want to see him fight next.
I wasn't particularly impressed because just the level of the competition. So I didn't learn anything from that. This guy McKinnon, again, they just threw cannon fodder, or British cannon fodder, a domestic fighter. So that didn't really show anything, any type of greatness or anything like that. I would like to see him in with someone like a Stanionis, a Rashidi Ellis. I would want Boots to be save Boots for like third. You know what I mean? I want to if he's going to make it through the gauntlet, let him have some type of super fight. With Boots, if that's going to be what it's going to be, but he got to come through a couple of stiff competition fighters before I would want to see him really with Boots right now, because that fight really hasn't built. You know what I'm saying? We want that because people keep saying that he's great, he's this, and he's next that. But I would like to see him come through some stiff competition so I can say, yeah, that's that guy. You know what I'm saying? So
let me say this about Rashidi Ellis. I'm gonna jump in there about the Rashidi Ellis situation. That's a fight Golden Boy could have done. They could have already done that Rashidi Ellis fight. And they didn't do it when they had all the opportunity in the world. So I don't think it'll ever get made. But I'm gonna say this about building these super fights. The best way to build a fight and to get interest he came back in. In my opinion, one of the best ways to build a fight and for the fight to get made and everybody start, their juices get flowing for this fight is to put these guys on the same card and have a night where, look, man, just think about this. Could we imagine what would have happened or how hype people would have been if Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fought on the same card the night that Spence beat Ugas? We could have put Bud Crawford in the ring with Mo Hooker. No one would have cared. they would have just been excited that these guys are fighting. So if they want Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz to fight and build it, and it'll probably be like D-Hive and these guys been saying, it'll probably be for a vacant title anyway if Virgil wants it. Put them on the same card. You can put them in against two ducks. Who cares? Long as they fight next. What y'all guys think about that?
And
And the problem with me is that people keep talking about the superiority of Virgil Ortiz's resume, which is whatever. And I'm like, okay, good. Since he's fought so much good competition, then Boots should be no problem. And then when you say that, all of a sudden it's whoa, wait a minute, hold on. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? Do you want to see this boy fight some damn body or not? Because people keep saying that Spencer Crawford will whoop Boots' ass right now. Okay, great. That sounds good. Let's make the fight then. Well, actually, hold on, because the people got business to handle. I'm like, so what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? We gonna watch all the people we like scrubs.
Facts. Also, too, I want to touch on this one thing. I've been going about this for weeks, and I'm about to show enough get on this now. Have we seen the level of Jake Paul love go up on the Twitter and YouTube and stuff? What is this? Where is this coming from? In regards to the Hassan Rottman thing. So, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I don't know why people are riding Jake Paul because Hakeem Rockman missed weight twice. Like, we understand the situation that he missed weight, but when Jake Paul first got into this one, these same people were making fun of him, talking about he's bad for the sport, he's a joke, he's copying Mayweather, blah 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 blah. Now all of a sudden, because his first fight against the certified happened to miss weight twice, all of a sudden Jake Paul is the real deal. The whole point of this fight was supposed to prove he's the real deal. The fight didn't happen, so he's still basically a joke as far as I'm concerned.
Here's the thing. He said he beat up Hassan Rottman in that sparring session. Hassan Rottman was 240 pounds, right? Am I right, Ronnie Cozy?
Yeah.
He was 240 pounds, right? Okay. He came in yesterday because this is the one thing that Jake Paul think that I'm stupid, and I'm talking about, and I'm saying myself for the general public. He wanted the guy to weigh in at 205 on August 5th. Mm-hmm. Why would you cut a fight and cancel a fight if a guy weighing 215 a week and a half before the fight, 2 weeks before the fight? You don't want to fight. You don't have to pull the wool over my eyes because the boy weighed in at 206, and he said if you went over, you had to pay a fine. And 206.6 would have been 25% of his purse, and it would have been a fight. Why we didn't get a fight? And here goes something else that people didn't see. And y'all can check me on this. On August 6th, which was yesterday, it was a concert already playing at Madison Square Garden. So where were they going to fight at?
And also, let me just say this real quick. The Paul brothers are not no fucking cruiserweights. Them dudes are huge. They walk around at like
something.
They walk around at 220, 235. So to be honest, all Jake Paul did was make shit harder on himself because he had to make weight too. Now I understand he had done it before and he's a little bit younger, whatever. But them dudes are not small. They walk around at basically what Hakeem Rockman was sparring them at. So yeah, that's a bunch of cap right there.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's just amazing how much love that these guys get. I mean, I call the guy a culture vulture, you know what I'm saying? And it was a guy that almost bit my head off, you know, and I'm like, why is people riding? And he agreed to pay the fighters that was on his undercard 50% of their purse. But what people don't realize is that Showtime put the money up.
True.
This ain't came out of this guy's pocket. If it came out of his pocket, I want Steven Espinoza to come out and say none of that money came from us. Because they give out money beforehand that goes to training camp expenses and things of this nature. They weren't paying them off TV guys no fit, you know what I'm saying, no $500,000. You know what I'm saying? Because if this was a big fight like a Spence Ugas or Spence Crawford fight, and you had guys like Stanionis and Keith Thurman or Sean Porter on the undercard, he wouldn't have been paying no 50% purse.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been paying $1 million or $500,000, 275,000. Man, come off that. Man, and I said that I was gonna be good, man. I said I wasn't gonna be going there, but I'm gonna go there. Us brothers in these situations, we need to stop it, man. We'll praise anything before we praise one of our own doing the exact same thing. This ain't nothing special, man. This ain't really is nothing special. When people allotted money, and I know some of y'all guys work at places where folks give away money. It's like with the money that's going out right now. They had money for the pandemic, right? And now some of that pandemic money that they didn't use, they're giving it to certain people for grants. Well, it's still the pandemic money. You get what I'm saying? Same thing here. They gave out those guys 50%, so they gave some probably $2,000, $4,000, you know, half their training camp, which is a nice gesture. But it wasn't nothing that they did out of the kindness of their heart. It's because they wanted to keep the lie going. Sometimes when you keep a lie going, it becomes expensive and it hurts other people. That's just keeping the lie going because he didn't want to take this fight with Hakeem Rockman because he could allow Rockman to weigh in like he did yesterday or Friday.
You know what was funny?
Mm-hmm.
The dudes you're talking about is hilarious. When Sean Porter said that Boots was a little overrated, these dudes were jumping on Sean Porter sausage like he was some kind of boxing sage. Sean Porter laid out this exact scenario a week before it happened. Now all of a sudden everybody hush mode on Sean Porter. I'm like, so
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I didn't even know Sean Porter said this.
Sean Porter,
Okay,
Sean
said it
Porter was
verbatim.
doing an interview. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The only thing I was saying, no, I'm sorry, just not to cut you off. I was just going to say,
Mhm.
Sean, whenever I hear somebody lay out verbatim a plan that's supposed to go on, then I know that that's how it's supposed to go. Like in business, a lot of the times, you know, there's like they use terms like framework and stuff like that. Basically, essentially, all of this stuff was already planned. Like you said, it's all about the charade, bro. So I don't even get too worked up about Jake Paul. You're just not gonna see me like praising or nothing like that. I'm sorry, D. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No, yeah, real talk. And yeah, but yeah, like I was saying, when Sean Porter's talking about Boots is overrated and shit, they all jumped on him like he was a boxing sage and was a prophet. But Sean Porter laid out this exact scenario in an interview. He said that Jake Paul and them are gonna do something with the weight to make sure that Hakeem Rockman can miss weight, and then they're gonna say it's Hakeem Rockman's fault for not being like he laid out the entire situation verbatim a week before this shit happened, and all of a sudden nobody's paying him any attention. And another thing is, like Cozarito said, why are we treating this like this is a real fight? Like,
Right.
Like who cares? This is Jake Paul fucking around trying to get money.
Trying to get money.
Because his brother done fucked up the YouTube bread off that Suicide Forest nonsense.
Oh, facts. See, you know, I'm gonna tell you something, D-Hive, Cozy, Ronnie. Y'all a little bit more up on them because you know what I'm saying. My child knows Jake Paul. I ain't never heard of Jake Paul before he fought Nate Robinson, and that's no lie. You know, that's no cap. I never heard of him before.
Yeah, they were two.
What he was.
They were two blonde-haired, blue-eyed Ohio white douchebags in high school who got on the YouTube grind before everybody else did. Their original content was nothing but unboxing all the expensive shit their parents would get them, and they were basically the first ones to really make vlogs on YouTube. And the bread was sweet until them and this dude named PewDiePie both did stupid things, and YouTube changed the entire algorithm for all their content creators, and that's why they had to switch to boxing because the paper that they're getting ain't keeping up with the lifestyle. That's it.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Yeah, Jake Paul, or I don't know if it was Jake or Logan, but one of they stupid ass went to a sacred Japanese place called the Suicide Forest and were filming people. It's supposed to be a sacred area where people end their lives due to a multitude of reasons, and they were over there filming people and cracking jokes, and YouTube brought the hammer down on their ass.
I
And
think that was Logan.
Yeah, well, one of them dumbasses, I can't tell them apart. But but yeah, that's the whole reason they entered boxing. We want to box. No, YouTube made it to where the money that you're getting isn't keeping up with your lifestyle, so you need to get some big checks in a hurry. That's all it is.
wow.
Yeah, man. And honestly,
Did not know
the
that.
only thing I don't know much about, Jake Paul and Logan Paul, but one thing I do know is, was it Mauricio Suleiman said that Jake Paul is going to be ranked if he beat this guy, Rama?
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Was he going to rank Isaiah Rodman if he won?
That's what I'm saying. One and two. It just it just shows everything is self-esteem. I mean, this is not real. None of this is real. So when people start complaining about these different boxing sanctioning organizations and stuff like that, just remember this is all one big game. So it's that's the only thing Jake Paul is really exposing, how corrupt boxing is.
But here's my thing about the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
How much did Rockman weigh his last two fights?
Like 225 and 230 something, I
I think he was
believe.
bigger than that.
224
He weighed like 260. I forgot which fight it was, but he was weighing like north for like 250, 260.
Okay.
You expect a man that huge to drop all of, it's not like he's chubby or anything like that. He's solid, but I mean, you're not going to expect a guy that big to drop down to 205, and then when it's time to fight time, you want to cancel the fight a week before the fight. Who does that?
A guy that didn't want to fight. Yeah. And like I say, I'm still wondering where, like I said, on last night at Madison Square Garden, there was a performance done. This thing was already planned to drop out of the fight, like Sean Porter said. Sean Porter was on it. I didn't even know Sean Porter had said it, but props to Sean Porter because he called it right down the line. He called it.
It was a scam because he's a replacement fighter. So normally when you have a replacement fighter, you kind of give him a little leniency on weight or to get ready.
Right.
He ain't even give him that. So I didn't know anything about the Madison Square Garden getting booked or anything, but now that you mentioned that, yeah, he didn't want to fight.
No, he didn't. He
It's
didn't.
not like Rockman's some world beater, but I think he got a little spooked. He got in that face off and saw how big he was and was like, I can't handle this.
Also, two guys, let me do a little breaking news. Not that I do it often, but Billy Joe Saunders had tried to do a fight, a comeback fight. He was training, to do this fight later on in the year. Anyway, him and Eddie Hearn couldn't come to terms on the money. Eddie Hearns wished Billy Joe well. Well, let me tell you something, man. Hey, we talk about these promoters and try to put them in this great light and act like they're such great people. Man, let me tell you something. He got that fight out of Billy Joe with Canelo. He don't need no Billy Joe. Billy Joe can't leave England. Or he can leave Europe. He can't leave Europe. How about that? Because he can't come into America. So there you go.
Coach him. He said, "Lay down for Canelo, bitch." Now
That's it.
That's hilarious. He dropped it. He got the Canelo money. Billy Joe came back like, "Hey, what's up, boss? So let's get that money again."
Nah, I don't think we need it anymore.
I don't know who you.
Eddie Hearn was like, "Who the fuck you supposed to be?"
Hey, look, man. That reminds me of a story, right? So this dude that's cool with me was telling me that one time, this girl, right, that he had seen the girl, whatever, went to her house, They did something. He saw her out there in the street like a day or two later, and he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And she was like, "Huh? Who, what? Who are you?" Same situation, man. These guys gonna pimp you, get rid of you, use you up, and spit you out, and that's it. That's it. And Billy Joe was what? About 280 last time we saw him. Who want to deal with a guy as undisciplined as that anyway? Let's be honest about it.
If Billy Joe had acquitted himself better instead of leaning over to the right 15 fucking times, he might have got a second Canelo fight out of it. But he decided to do that and get knocked out.
I got a fight that Eddie Hearn can use him in. Billy Joe Saunders comeback fight versus Anthony Joshua.
Yeah,
They're on the same weight anyway.
That's an Eddie Hearn move right there.
That's down Eddie Hearn line anyway. They can fight in his backyard. Ain't that what he like to do?
Mm-hmm.
He fight in the backyard and all that. Boy, that guy, man. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. Eddie Hearn got Plantation and Master Hammond written all over him, man. Some of the moves that he made.
Yeah, he be looking at it like, ooh, I got Chris Eubanks' son versus Nigel Ben's son. I'm gonna put them together and make Nigel Ben versus Chris Eubank number 2.
Right.
2 separate divisions.
You best believe he'll do that dumb shit too. Because look at what he's doing with Conor Benn. He's talking about Eubank.
Yeah, and that's the fight he's talking about. Yeah, Eubank and Chris Eubank. Yeah, like he bringing it to the past, like the '80s. Nostalgia. That's what he like to talk about. Nostalgia.
And Chris Eubank makes me so sick because not only does he talk a lot of shit, but he's super disrespectful to his father, like his father didn't accomplish anything. And then on top, Eubank Jr., his career is trash. Like I appreciate him training with Roy Jones or whatever, but I'm like, bro, you're still not fighting anybody. You were supposed to fight Big Charlo. Negotiations, quote unquote, broke down, which means you probably bitched out. And you talking about Triple G. Triple G is not interested. And like, what are you doing, bro?
Well, you do know during the career of Chris Eubank, and I'm talking about the father, he was a very disrespectful guy too.
To his son?
You know what I'm saying? He was a very unliked guy as well. Okay? I'm talking about the father.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Eubank Jr. is disrespectful to his dad.
Yeah, I get it. And I'm telling you, part of that goes to what type of person Eubank was as a young lad, as they may say over there. You know what I'm saying? Chris Eubank, the senior, was known for being disrespectful, you know what I'm saying, towards people.
But the difference is, Chris Eubank Sr. can fight.
He can fight. Yeah, we talking about
Jr. can't fight.
No.
He can fight, but he can't fight like that. Like not the way he portrays.
Right. Now, but if you let James Toney tell you, James Toney told Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn, and all them guys to their face that they were just food for him and scrubs. I think he called him a scrub. And told them that they want nothing but European talent. So, but James Toney was a super talent, you know what I'm saying? But you're right. Eubank could fight a little better than that.
Well, Chris Eubank Jr.'s claim to fame was that he lost to Billy Joe Saunders. That's what we really know.
and George Groves. Don't forget that.
George Groves, right. Who claimed the fame is getting knocked out by, what's my man name? Carl Froch. Twice, right.
Whose claim to fame was getting beat up by Andre Ward. So
Right. Oh, but he did. Hold up. He did knock out Jermaine Taylor in the 12th round in a fight he had lost 11 rounds. So I always give him credit for that one. I give him credit.
Jermaine Taylor?
Jermaine Taylor had beat Carl Froch down in a fight and beat him 10 out of 11 rounds, and he was dead tired in the 12th round and got stopped.
Well, that's what them Chavez Jr.'s fans be telling me about that Sergio Martinez fight. Oh, the last 2 rounds. Did you watch the first 10?
Yeah, he got one little knockdown, right?
Chavez Jr. has fans? The hell?
He used to.
Oh, they everywhere here in North Carolina. Trust me.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
yeah, he used to have some super fans out there. He wasn't on Canelo level right now, but there was a time when him and Canelo was fighting during this era where Chavez Jr. had more fans than Canelo.
That is a fact.
That boy is fucking
That is a
dog
fact.
water.
Yeah, hey, but you can live off your father. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You
If
can
he
live
wanna
off
take
your
A-side,
pop.
if he want to go this A-side talk, he could talk it because he could. I mean, it wasn't nothing dealing with him, but he could fill out some fans based off his name alone.
Yeah,
Now, if his name was Jose Lopez, then
nobody would show up.
no.
Nobody would show up for a chubby fighter that's gonna come in overweight and talk trash. You know what I'm saying?
That might be the only fighter that Jake Paul can actually beat who's a boxer. So
I think it'll be real competitive.
yeah.
It'll go right down. Yeah, he might win that fight.
That's why Chavez Jr. pulled out, didn't he?
I didn't know that Chavez Jr. and Jake was gonna fight.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I could have sworn I heard they was talking about it, and Chavez Jr. scheduled something else. I'm like, yeah, because Jake Paul probably beat your ass.
Yeah, I mean, and he lost to Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva, not even the old Anderson Silva, bro. He lost.
Yeah, old. Yeah, exactly, man.
Disgrace.
But look, man, before we get on, we're gonna talk about a couple upcoming fights, man. I'm gonna get what y'all think on a couple of these, man, and then we're gonna call it a day. So, some upcoming fights coming up. Let's see, man. Let's see. This coming weekend. Hold up, bro. All right. Okay. Next weekend, August 14th. We know Anthony Joshua is coming up, but on Friday night, my buddy Raheem fighter Lorenzo Simpson is going to fight in Arizona on the Tevin Farmer Mickey Bay card. Oh, wow. I don't think that that's going to be a fight that many people are looking forward to seeing, but Mickey Bay is going to fight Tevin Farmer on Friday night.
Mickey Bay still fighting?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, Mickey actually. Yeah, go ahead.
That fight was supposed to be in Africa, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Now it's going to be in Arizona, the other Africa.
Wow.
I thought you would like that, D-Hive. Africa for towards Mexico, but no, man, it's gonna happen in Prescott, Arizona, on Friday night, man. Yeah, it's gonna happen there.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, and it's gonna be on the undercard of Lorenzo is gonna be on the card on the undercard of that fight. That's a fight that don't make sense. Let's be honest. It's just a fight. And I really don't understand why Tevin Farmer would take it, because let's be honest, any guy that can't punch can lose a fight to another guy that can't punch. Let's be honest. Mickey Bay, even at 40, could win that fight.
Yeah.
And if he win that fight, Tevin Farmer's career is over. Yeah. I take that back. I've seen guys' career fall to the wayside, but Tevin Farmer's career it's just basically, man, fell to the wayside. Like, nobody even cares about his career at all.
Yeah, he had a crossroads.
Tevin Farmer don't care about it. He's making all that damn truck money, and
well, that's what the mouth said.
Huh?
That's what his mouth said.
I mean, he haven't been training like it. He only been training for Mickey Bay specifically.
I think he was living off that Eddie Hearn money, all that good, you know what I'm saying, European money he kept making, fighting all them bums. Yeah, he was making good money.
Got an advance.
I wonder what the purses are. I'm not trying to pocket watch or anything like that, but I just wonder what the purses are, because maybe it's just two brothers breaking some bread. Because like you said, man, other than that, this fight is pointless, man.
Pointless.
Mickey trying to make up for lost bread from the Mayweather fiascos. So he's trying to make up some time there, because most of his money just comes from training and whatnot. Because he trains Devin Haney and he trains a few other people. So that's pretty much. So I understand
that's who Devin Haney trainer should be. I love Yoel Judah. Yoel Judah is a good trainer, but Yoel is better at training, and I think that Yoel is going to end up being a real force as far as in boxing in the near future. but he's better at training young, athletic, strong puncher boxers, not boxer punchers. Devin need to be with Mickey Bay. Mickey Bay knows the shoulder roll. He got all the catch, the parries. He's good. He's a master, a young master at that. Training with Floyd Senior since he was 12 years old himself. So he's the best, in my opinion, for Devin. But of course, Devin has trained with many guys. So, but to me, that should be his best.
I agree.
Well, yeah, and also one of D-Hive favorites, Lopez Tio comes back on Saturday night.
Oh shit, Lopez loses every fucking fight for the rest of his career
against Pedro Campa.
Yep.
Yeah. What y'all think, man?
Well,
okay.
I think T.O. got this one. And I don't really care for T.O. like that, but I do think he'll knock out Campo. So even though it's his 140 debut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm sure his father gonna be talking trash, man. I already done heard him already. So.
Of course, man. I haven't seen what's the guy's name? Ocampo or something like that.
Campo.
I've never seen him. Campo. I've never seen him fight before. So
yeah, he been on ESPN a couple times.
Okay, that's cool, man. Yeah, shout out to him, man. Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be a nice little layup, but
yeah.
Until he go ahead and fight somebody real at 140, I'm still counting T.O. out because the mindset seemed to not really have changed. You know what I'm saying? They still seem real delusional about everything that's going on, and still more excuses. Now I got to hear about the shotgun holes in the chest, and I could have died.
What he say? I got air in my body, air in my lungs. Where it's supposed to be at?
I'm breathing. Listen, and I'm not trying to take away from anything, but it's like, man, bro, the war stories, bro. I'm like, yo, man, like I'm cool, bro. I'm good on him. So yeah.
And what's funny is that his original comeback fight was supposed to be against a man named Liam Perro. But you know what Top Rank realized? He's another
fight.
He's another undefeated Australian dude with more knockouts than Kambosos.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh shit.
That's all right. Right.
You know what? I'm changing my pick, actually. I'm going to go back and renege on my pick. I'm choosing Campo. I'm going to choose against T.O. until he go avenge his loss.
Hey, Campo 34-1. And here's the thing. Here's the part. Campo and when you talk a lot, people get up for your fight because they know if they beat a loudmouth, they become a player now in the game because everybody going to see it. So Campa is like 30, 31 years old out of Mexico. Hey, look, man, he hungry. If he win this fight against T.O., it's just like when the guy from Australia won the fight, right?
Kambosos.
So, Kambosos. He become a name because Kambosos was only known for barely beating Mickey Bay. So, you can become a player, man, by beating a loudmouth. So look for, and here's the part. I don't trust T.O.'s mental health game because T.O. can be bullied. He can be bullied, man. And he got low self-esteem. Like, here's the thing. When we go to the fight, when we go to the press conference, I'll be talking about your wife left you.
I point two fingers right at his neck.
You know what I'm saying? You done found something better out there. Look, I'll even go this far. I'll get somebody to put some syrup or something on my finger, and I'll be like, this your wife right here. Look, hey, man, you got to do anything, bro. You got to do anything out there to get a guy like that off their game. If I know you weak about a woman, I'm going to get on that subject all day long. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
I don't trust his trainer. You talking about Bowman?
Yeah, his dad, because his dad probably is start fighting. Like, if you do something like that, it's going to start a fight instantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to start a fight instantly, man. So you got to, you know what I'm saying? You got to go at this guy and look, I'm all for sportsmanship, but there are certain fighters you got to be disrespectful with in order to, you know what I'm saying, to get them off their game.
Absolutely.
That's just what it is, man. You know, and after the fight, you can shake hands and hug them. Like, people forget, man. I mean, I'm not telling nobody to go this far, but Roberto Duran, you know, cussed out Ray Leonard's wife and pushed her. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine somebody pushing your lady at a fight before a fight? You ain't going to get in there and shoulder roll. I'm going to pop down. No, you coming in there ready. You're going to be aggressive. You know what I'm saying?
Remember, Mayorga slapped Sugar Ray Leonard wife on the ass.
I think
No, Shane Mosley.
I mean,
yeah,
my bad.
Shane
Shane Mosley. Yeah, Mayorga, yeah. I got.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Sugar Shane. Yeah, Mayorga. And this is the fight after he had his ass whooped. This is the second fight.
Right. Yeah, exactly. The second fight, he ended up knocking him out twice. But you know what, Diab? Look, shout out to your man Shane Mosley. Came from your hometown of Pomona. You know what I'm saying? And I know you're not from Pomona. I'm just messing with you, but yeah, shout out to Shane Mosley. But yeah, man, you gotta be. You sometimes boxing ain't no gentleman's sport like that, like tennis or golf. You don't have to be respectful, man. Sometimes you got to be disrespectful to guys, especially if you see a weakness like that. I mean, I wouldn't advise you to talk about people dead family members. Now, I wouldn't go that far. But as far as the wives thing go, that's in play. Mayorga did that with Corey Spinks. Talked about Corey Spinks' mom before their undisputed fight. So I was happy, super happy, when Corey Spinks beat him. Yeah, man, you ain't got to do that.
Especially when you can't make adjustments like he can't.
Exactly. Corey Spinks boxed his head off. But yeah, man, that's crazy. But yeah, so T.O. fight coming up this weekend on Saturday. We also got Anthony Joshua the following week, and as that fight get closer, I'm going to really break that down because I think Usyk is making a mistake in training. I think he's making a mistake.
Yeah, what mistake he making, you think?
Why is he bulking up?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Why? Same thing with Deontay Wilder. I said when Deontay Wilder fought the second and third fight against Fury, he should be where he at right now. Have we seen Deontay Wilder training? That's Deontay Wilder's best fighting weight. 212, 215.
Exactly.
220 at the absolute top.
Y'all think he's doing that on purpose?
Who, Usyk? Yeah. I think Usyk is bulking up because
He said it too.
you know,
I didn't know he said that.
and also too, I feel that Joshua hurt him a little bit in that first fight at times, and the guy probably feel like, man, I need more weight to hold these guys off. But what they don't know is speed is the best way of beating so-called power, man. Speed and timing. That's all you need.
Here's the thing: he hasn't been in the ring in so long, so you already gonna have your wind about you when you get in the ring because you got to shake off that ring rust. So why are you bulking up in weight? Because when you bulk up in weight, muscle just gonna add more fatigue to you. A la Wilder, he was gassed out in like the second round.
Yep.
What's the like? I always say, do what brought you to dance. If you outboxed him, outclassed him for a full 12 rounds, why change it?
Absolutely.
The adjustment.
I thought his fat ass was just at the house knocking back cake. I didn't know he was.
No, he bulked up, man. He got some muscles in there. I'm sure some points in there too.
Yeah, he got some
idiot. Why would he
looking like Katie Taylor out there?
Yeah.
My thing is too. It's never good to try to like match the size of the naturally bigger man in boxing.
Right.
It never work. That's his natural size. You just coming up to that. It's basically like inflatable balloon type muscle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But on top of it, AJ's not a guy who's really trying to physically impose his will. Yeah, they say they're gonna do it, but we gotta see it first. It'd be better for him to be able to just turn him all night and use his footwork. But if he's gonna sacrifice that advantage, let's see. Because I'm not like the biggest fan of Usyk. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's be ODing on him and all this.
Yes.
Stuff, and they start babbling about his record, and then you go back and watch that cruiserweight division. these guys, Glasgow, whatever. You know?
I always told D-High they were garbage. Bunch of no-name Australians and guys from East Africa fighting out of England somewhere. Them guys can't fight, man.
Yeah,
Balled him up to the pound for pound.
If he loses, that's cool for me too. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't really care who wins this fight, but I am interested to see the adjustments AJ makes with Robert Garcia being just going straight into the fight,
Right.
no warm-up fight. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll say this. You made a great point, Cozy, when you said something about never bulk up to the naturally bigger guy or bigger person. And this is something that D-Hive is going to like, this comment right here. It's almost like guys, when they start dating a fat girl, they get fat too, right? They want to get to the natural weight. Right, D-Hive?
Shit, I wouldn't know. Like,
The reason I say that is because I've been seeing and hearing about D-Hive in the powerlifting, and he said that he like muscle bound women. So I sent him a couple muscular women out there, man, like the woman that bench pressed 360 pounds there on that bench, man. Hey, D-Hive, it's out there for you, brother. You gotta bulk up to get with him now. Come on now.
oh my goodness! I said one thing about how, you know what, I wouldn't mind a little bit of muscle. He giving me Sister Soldier and everything. He's giving me all the chicks that built like Grace Jones with a bunch of She-Hulks. Oh my God.
Hey, but no, to answer your question though, Cozy, hey, Robert Garcia got to get into Anthony Joshua head that you can't be a robot. Bro, get in that ring and fight this guy. Get in the ring and fight him. Especially with him bulking up, you're going to have somebody right in the ring with you that's a heavyweight too. So it should be a battle of power and strength instead of boxing ability. You know what I'm saying? And like you say, Cozy, that's the one thing that Usyk has given up. So Robert Garcia got to talk that. But then when he get in the ring, sometimes a guy get hit in the mouth and they go right back doing what they used to do. So
That's my thing with AJ, man. I think it got beat out of him, bro.
Yeah. Let's see if he got that fight in him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
He's gutless. He with all due respect to AJ, he's gutless. He gets hit in his temple one time, he starts skating.
Right. And look, let me touch on this before we go, because we almost at 2 hours. On September 10th, and we're gonna talk as we get closer, but we know September 10th, in my opinion. Well, okay, before that, Jared Anderson will return, the heavyweight. He got a fight in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He got a 10-round fight. We also got Pedraza and Comey. I mean, these guys are recycling these guys more than they recycle Pepsi bottles. I don't want to see that no more. F.A. Ajagba also will be back in action. His first fight since getting beat by Sanchez. This is one of D-Hive men, Abdullah Mason, also going to fight on the televised part of ESPN that day. Then we got Andy Ruiz and Luis Ortiz on a Fox pay-per-view in L.A. Cruz going to fight Ramirez. Abner Mares, man, that's a story that a lot of people ain't been talking about. Man, look, the man eyes look like Tevin Farmer's. And ain't nothing wrong with that if you always been cross-eyed. But this guy ain't been cross-eyed but a couple years ago. Abner Mares, I can't tell this guy not to fight, but I can say to the commission, hey, bro, y'all got to look at this thing, man. So he comes back on the 4th. Rasheed Aleem is also going to fight on that day on the pay-per-view in a 10-round fight. And it's about time that, and I know that Cool Boy Steph has got a lot of things going on, but he got to fight the young brother, man. He got to fight that brother. That brother deserves a title shot, and Fulton is in a position to fight him. And then the biggest women card in the history of the sport is September the 10th on ESPN with Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall, and then Michaela Mayer and Baumgartner all fighting out there in London. So we're going to touch on that. And then a week after that, we got Canelo and Triple G. We got football coming up. So, man, it's about to be busy. You all know how the heat of August is, man. Once it ends, you know, it get cold. So it's time, man. We got some fights to heating up. Hopefully in the next week or 2 or 3 weeks, the Earl Spence fight will get announced or something. So let's keep our fingers crossed, man.
That's crazy that Mayer and Baumgartner didn't get their own car.
Well, you gotta understand, bro. ESPN to get involved. Y'all know ESPN got involved in that. So, and I understand what you're saying, D-High, but in this case, they should be thanking everybody because when ESPN got involved, their fight gonna be able to be seen by people just sitting in America, because I don't care what nobody say. America ain't buying DAZN like people think.
It's not. And I'm just gonna add on real quick, D-Hop.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go and look at the last ticket sales for Michaela Mayer's last fight. It's just off the top of my head. I believe it sold between 300 and 600 tickets, and it took like at least $90,000 loss. She don't sell no tickets, man. So she needs to be on that undercard, bro.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Which is, I don't understand why she's A side at this point, but hey.
Well, neither one of them are A. They both B side because Clarissa and Savannah Marshall is selling that fight over there. You know what I'm saying? And basically Clarissa. You know, let's be honest. Like Clarissa Shields is women boxing, especially overseas.
Yeah, because Savannah Marshall's whole claim to fame is I beat her once when she was 17 or some shit.
Right, exactly.
I beat her once in the amateurs. We were still wearing headgear, and she was 17, haven't even finished puberty yet.
Right,
like that translates.
And Clarissa is my girl, man. I like Clarissa because she ain't like a lot of these politician athletes and people on Twitter and Facebook and stuff. She ain't out there trying to be popular and get on a TV show or get an interview job. She just being Clarissa, man. So right. She out there talking to folks. She talking about my butt big, I look good, da. She don't care, man. Anything come to her brain, she's saying it. I like people like that. So
exactly. And the thing is, she still gets the commentating positions anyway. She was on DAZN when Cruz DAZN was fighting. Yep. And then the next day, whenever people ask her about Savannah Marshall, she's like, man, I'm getting ready to beat that bitch ass.
Right. Exactly. Because yeah, go ahead.
No. I don't want to interrupt your flow. I'll talk right after.
I'm done.
No, I'm basically gonna say that's life, man. Like if people really truly listen to Michael Jordan, guys like that, he was the same way. He would say anything. The only thing he wouldn't do that Clarissa will do is speak up about black issues. But that's another subject for another day, how they won't do that. But I'm just saying, man, I think that people need to start to be themselves and forget about, because, you know, we in the era that, like me and some older guys like myself grew up, you had to watch what you say or you would never be on TV. Now it's so many platforms that TV is taking anybody. So they'll be like, look, if we don't take it, you can make that money on the internet. Nah, we'll take it. So that's my opinion on that.
I just wanted to clarify real quick, just so people don't think I'm spreading false information on here on Julius's behalf. Michaela Mayer versus Jennifer Hahn, April 9th, 2022, sold 606 tickets. There was 221 comps. It brought in a gate of $37,000, $37,125 full undercard. There was Michaela Mayer got paid $125,000 just by herself, so that's over $100,000 loss on the fight. So I'm just telling you that. I'm not making it up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you the truth.
Hey man, and I'm glad you went on and broke down the actual statistics, because you know people be micromanaging some of the things that I say, and then they try to hold me to all technicalities. So I appreciate it, Cozy. And if you had said, man, she can't sell, that would have worked for me. But you broke down the actual numbers and everything. So now there's no discrepancy. You get what I'm saying? I would have took it whatever. But we're gonna shoot on that fight because that's an interesting women fight, and I already have who I think gonna win that fight, and I'm gonna announce that later. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna announce it now. I'm gonna announce mine now.
Yeah.
Baumgartner
Who
gonna beat the
winning?
shit out
Who
of that
winning?
girl.
Huh?
Alicia Baumgartner gonna beat the shit out of that girl.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna definitely shoot on that.
I'll
But,
say this: it's Baumgartner's fight to lose. If she goes in there with the right attitude and does what Tony Harrison asked her to do when he asked her to do it, she can easily win. But if she go in there thinking she Roy Jones and shit, it could be a long night.
Yeah, because and that's the same thing with Savannah Marshall. In the women's game, unfortunately, man, there isn't many Ann Wolf one-punch knockout artists. So you mess around and think you are a puncher in a 2-minute round, you'll be waiting all night. Because let me say this, Al Mitchell, Mayor trainer, he can train. He can absolute train. And he can put a game plan together to beat Alicia Baumgartner. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dissing her. I'm just saying the guy can train. He trains Vernon Forrest, put together Vernon Forrest game plan to beat Shane Mosley in the amateurs and in the pros. So this guy can get it done. Also with David Reed, led him to a world title. He done did it before. But you absolutely right. She gonna have to listen to Tony Harrison and his brother. Gonna have to listen to him. But that's a good fight, man. I'm happy for them getting them paydays. But look, guys, we're gonna wrap it up, man. I appreciate y'all coming through, man. We had some fun, man. We had real fun up here, man. We're gonna have to definitely do this again, man.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thank
you
for
having me on,
us.
Julius.
Appreciate
Hey,
you having me, man.
anytime, man. I told you, I told folks in the beginning, bro, everybody welcome to come on my show. I ain't gonna never make you feel dumb. We're gonna have fun, and y'all can talk about what you want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? And we can do it and not even have no arguments, man. Whether we agree with anybody or not. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do.
Absolutely. Appreciate
All right,
it.
guys. I see y'all, man. Y'all come back and join me again. All right.
Yes, sir.
All right now.